Hey everyone, it's Joy here for Honeybee Stamps. Today I'm going to show you how I used the cookie sheet die and a deckled edge die to make a really super fun pizza card. So let's get started. Now here is the die. This is the cookie sheet die. I die cut that from some silver cardstock along with a spatula in the die. And I'm going to use that small circle from the cookie sheet die to make the pepperonis. I'm going to use this little leaf here, not the stamp, just the die to make some basil that's going to go on the pizza. Now here is the deckled edge die that I've already die cut out some white cardstock. This is going to be the actual pizza. But as you can see there, it's a little too long to fit on my cookie sheet. So I'm going to slide the die down, add my tape to it, and run it through my die cut machine. And it's going to just cut that edge off and give us the perfect size to fit in the cookie sheet die. So now let's do some Copic coloring. I'm starting with E33. I'm going to be using E33, 35, and 37 for the crust. And when I'm laying down that color, I'm not being super careful about it because crust is kind of bumpy and lumpy. I'm coming in with E37 on the very outside edge and then E35 to kind of blend in a little bit. Then I come back in with E33 and blend it all out one more time. I'm going to use YR27 and add some dots, and this is going to be like the crustier part of the pizza crust. And then I'm going to come back in with E37 and kind of go over the YR27. Once I get all of these little dots, these little crusty parts of the crust around, I'm going to come back in with E33 and just blend that out because it is a lighter color. It's going to soften all of that dark stuff. And then one more time with E37 on the outside edge because that's going to make it look really toasty. So the reds that I'm using are R29, 37, and 89. I'm starting with my lightest color, and I just want a little edge of sauce. The rest of that open area is actually going to be cheese. So I'm just coming in, doing the same blending, laying down my lighter color, coming in with my darker color around the edge, my medium color, and then blending out again with my lighter color. And on this red color, I had to work a little bit to really kind of get a nice, good transition between the dark to the light, but it worked out really, really good. Now I made a little oops right there with a darker color that I did not mean to do for the cheese, but once I go over it with this really light color, you're really not even going to notice that once I add all of the toppings. So I just left it and it'll actually work out just fine. You barely notice it, and only if you're looking for it. So I laid down my really light color of YR0000 is what I laid down. Then I'm coming in with E00 here, and I'm going to start making the little yummy burnt spots of the cheese that happens when you cook it in the oven. So I'm starting with this really light color. Then I'm going to come in with YR24, and I'm not coloring completely over the E00. I'm just adding some spots to that because I want this cheese to look toasty. Then I'm coming in with YR27 to add a little bit of highlights, I say highlights, but darker areas to that, and then E37, even less amount of that. Then I'm going to come back in again with the YR0000 and color over the whole cheese area. This is going to soften those toasted areas to where they kind of blend a little bit better. Like I said, because that's a light color, it's almost like a blender pen, so it kind of bleeds in and just softens all the other colors. I came in with the E37 and added a little bit of a darker edge around the red sauce, which really made it kind of pop. I'm going to just finish blending out a little bit more on the red sauce there, and then add a few dots with the really dark R89 on the sauce, and then that is super cute and done. Now let's color the pepperonis. So I'm just coloring those little circles with a red color, coming in, adding some dots, going back over it with a medium color, and I'm going to do that for all of the pepperonis, and they turned out so super cute. So now here is the leaf die. I showed you it was the stamp. I didn't use the stamp, just the die. I'm coming in with G05 and G14. And I'm just coloring them just a little bit. I'm going to cut off the stem, and I'm going to cut 2 pieces from each one of the leaves because it was just a little bit too big and not the right shape for basil. So I'm just going to use my scissors and cut out the different shapes and adhere that down and just kind of pop those in between all of those cute little pepperonis. And isn't that starting to look like a pizza? I love how this turned out. It's so super cute. So I'm going to finish doing that with the rest of these really cute little leaves. These die is from the Paradise of Birds die. That's this little leaf. That is where that is from. So I'm going to finish with the last one here, and I'm going to use some liquid glue to adhere this down. I'm just using tweezers and some liquid glue to glue that in place. And look at how cute that pizza is. Once I'm done with that, then we are going to get to cutting this pizza, which was really kind of nerve-wracking. First, let's do the word enjoy. This is from the Bitty Buzzwords die. There is a coordinating stamp set, but I did not use that. I just used the die. I die cut it from black cardstock twice, and I glued that together to give me a little bit of dimension. And you'll see that's how I'm going to lay that out. I have the spatula here. I die cut it from silver and black. I actually ended up adding the black to the spatula part later because you couldn't see it on the cookie sheet. So here is the cutting, and I was so nervous to cut this. I was having a heart attack actually while it was happening. It was so stressful, but it turned out super cute. So I am just cutting a piece of pizza out of this. I'm not going to cut the rest of it because this piece will be sitting on top of the spatula popped up on foam tape to look like someone is serving that piece of pizza. So I'm going to adhere that large piece down to my cookie sheet. And then I'm going to adhere the piece of pizza to the spatula, and I'm going to add some foam tape behind that. That's going to give it some dimension, which I think is really super cute. So I'm going to pop that into place, and then we've got this fun dimension on this card. Then I'm going to glue down the sentiment that says enjoy. I'm just using a little bit of liquid glue. Adhering that down, I've got the two little dots that I need for the J. I'm just going to adhere one down and then adhere the other one on top of that, again using some liquid glue. And you can see how cute this card is already turning out to be. Now that that's done, let's see, isn't that cute? So let's do the sentiment. Now I did die cut from white cardstock, that same cookie sheet die. I stamped it with the cute sentiment that says this card is seasoned with love, and that is from You Bake Me Happy. And I cut a strip here because we need to adhere the front and back together to make it a functioning card. So I cut a strip, and I'm just going to score down the center and fold it in half. We're going to glue it to the top of the back card and the top of the front part of the card. I'm going to use some liquid glue because it is stronger than just a tape runner, being that this is the working mechanism of the card. So that's adhered down, a little bit of liquid glue, and then I'm just going to adhere the front part on, slide it right into place, and now you've got this great working card with a cute sentiment on the inside. So I'm going to add some highlights to this because I love adding highlights. So I'm using my white gel pen. I'm adding it to the word enjoy. I'm also going to add it to the pepperonis and the basil and a little bit to the sauce on the outside. I just love this kind of detail. I think it really makes a huge difference on adding just more interest to your images. Now that that's done, you can see I'm sliding that black part of the spatula on underneath, and now it pops and you can see it. And isn't that card super cute? It turned out so fantastic. Thank you guys so very much for stopping by and watching. I hope that you enjoyed this project, and I will see you soon. Bye.